Right, we're away at the Britannia. We're playing Stoke in the Capital One Cup on Wednesday. Guys, is this the only trophy we can win this season? Does that mean we should be gunning for it? Jonathan?
No, I think not. I think Moyes will also quite like to have a crack at the FA Cup this year. We've not won it since 2005. That'd be a really good scalp for him. Among United fans, I think they'd love that. I also think we've got a chance to roll big ears, the Champions League. I think it's a knockout competition, and a bit like Chelsea and Liverpool in the past. I think we can play a bit of containment football. Moyes is looking really good in Europe on the counter attack. I think that's the way to win trophies.
Adam, do you agree with the things that Jonathan has just said?
I do indeed. I agree with him. I believe we're in 4 competitions at the moment, so I'm not looking at the Carling Cup as the only one. I think
Capital One Cup. We're going to get sued.
Capital One Cup, sorry, or Worthless Cup, whatever it is.
All the credit cards are.
We're not Liverpool fans. We don't have to look at that as the only trophy we can win. I believe we can win a few others as well if we want to. Out of the 4, it's not the one we want to win the most. And
Mac the Knife, I believe Liverpool are out of the Capital One Cup, so it's not one they can win. Chin up, Scousers. Now, would you experiment, given that you don't think it's that important, there are other trophies out there, would you look at the likes of a 4-3-3 or, change the formation however you see fit, playing the likes of Wilfried Zaha, giving him a chance? JB?
I certainly would do, yeah. But I think at the moment we've got to play the card we're being dealt. I mean, we're so hard up against it with injuries right now. That really does limit you. So I think in an ideal world we have a strong side, and maybe we like to bleed in like the likes of Butner, give him one more chance at left back. He's pretty woeful, or Fabio. But yeah, I'd like to see Wilfried Zaha.
Okay, Mac, what do you think about that?
In regards to Zaha, in the short time I've seen him in competitive games this season, I can see why David Moyes hasn't been starting him. He's rushed and he doesn't think too much when he's on the ball. If you look at Januzaj, for a young lad, he does exactly what like a more mature player would do. He's always thinking when he's on the ball, and Zaha doesn't do that, and I believe he has to do that a bit more if he wants to start week in, week out. Of course, he needs game time, he needs minutes on the pitch, and it's never a better time than in the Capital One Cup, to play him. So, yes, he could get some game time, but I wouldn't start him. No, I don't think he deserves to.
All right, tell me who you would start.
I'd go with Lindegaard in goal. I'd go with Raphael, Evans, Jones, and Fabio. I'd go with Nani, Anderson, Giggs, Januzaj, and Rooney just off Welbeck. I know you mentioned 4-3-3 experimenting and stuff like that. I mean, in the formation that I pick generally week in, week out for the prediction, for these previews, it's more or less a 4-5-1/4-3-3/4-4-1-1, and in the terms that it can always be flexible and fluid, and players can interchange, our wingers can interchange, and I think we perform much better when we've got a team like that. Against Leverkusen, which was some of our better football, at times against Villa, where else we played Swansea as well. We always looked better when people were interchanging, and we had like Kagawa and Rooney swapping, Van Persie going out wide, and we always look better like that. So I'd like to see that kind of fluid formation with players that can fit into different roles.
Okay, JB, do you agree with MacBook Pro, or do you think we don't maybe have the players for that kind of fluidity?
For Max Algebra, yeah. I think I think we should in theory, but we know that David Moyes is so rigid. He doesn't really do adaptation all that well, and I think it's something that he has to learn. But I've gone for a 4-3-3 myself. I've gone Lindegaard at the back. Yeah, not so great day. Well, give him a chance. He's all right this day. And a right back, I've gone Raphael. I'm putting Rio, partly as a sympathy vote, because I think he's on his way out, and I really like the guy. Great personality for the dressing room. I'd like to see him a couple more times before, he's on the shelf. But I also think he's very good at aerial duels. I think Stoke are extremely good in the air. That's probably their key strength right now. Phil Jones is in there to beast everyone for the physical challenge of the likes of Crouch, who we know just from standing up can foul someone just by doing that because his elbow's in your face. Something I thought about.
Elbows. Yeah, what are you? 6'9", 6'10"? You're a lanky man.
Lanky man, all right, behave. And left back, it's Fabio. I really rate him. And, a couple of years ago, he was playing in the Champions League final against Messi and co, and we need to remember that.
We didn't win that, by the way.
No, we didn't.
What, really?
So, I mean, like...
But it was against perhaps, the greatest team of a generation.
Don't remind me.
My midfield, I'm going to give good old Ando a chance. I loved it when it came on in that little cameo he had against Leverkusen, just kind of like burst for about 30 yards, a little run, and he didn't look like he was going to fall over or anything. So him and Giggs in the centre, It's not very defensive because I'm putting Rooney as a midfield three at the top of the three as your focal point for playmaking. And then up front, I'm going for Welbeck, but also flanked by Zaha and Nani, so it is a 4-3-3.
Okay, so a 4-3-3, very interesting, and you're opting not to give Wayne Rooney a rest. Machu Picchu, what do you think of that?
These are getting better, these, aren't they?
Yeah, Wayne Rooney. I think he should start. It's a quarter-final of a cup competition. You know, Manchester United always want to get to the last stages, so he needs to start. It's an away game, especially with Van Persie, Hernandez being injured. I know Hernandez is touch and go, but with both of them out, we've left with no choice really but to play Rooney and Welbeck, unless we go for something more experimental with like Januzaj in his natural position as a number 10 just off Welbeck. But then I think away from home against somebody that's tough tackling like Stoke is probably not the best thing to do. So I think Rooney's a must for this game.
Okay, all right, so let's move on to Stoke. JB, who are the danger men? You touched on Peter Crouch earlier.
Yeah, I think the one of the few creative forces it has is Arnautovic, and he was really good in one of his early games for Stoke against us when we managed to overcome the 3-2 at Old Trafford. But I mean, he scored a direct free kick and he looked like a bit of a threat. I don't think they've got too much to bother us in terms of like the runners. I just think it's the fact that they've got a lot of gamesmanship under Mark Hughes. The press is high up the pitch, which we really don't like, and they keep possession in their own half, which doesn't really allow Moyes to go for his counter-attacking tactic, which has been one of the mainstays of his style of play this season. So I think they're frustrators.
Okay, Mac, should we worry about their attack?
I think with Everington out, is someone that can get to the byline a lot for them and whip some balls in for the likes of Crouch and Jones, who are their top scorers this season. So with Everington out, Robbie Hoof out at centre-back, they're missing two key players. Of course, the likes of Crouch and Kenwyne Jones will always cause us issues, but the Evans and Jones partnership is growing, and that's why I went for that again. I think Rio should start on Saturday against West Ham, but Evans and Jones, we need to give them as many games as possible together. This is a different kind of threat to what they faced against Aston Villa. Although Benteke is an aerial threat, and they dealt with him expertly on the weekend, this is a different kind of threat. And Evans and Jones, I believe, could handle that, the threat of Crouch, who I believe is their main threat at the moment. I do think, though, JB mentioned them pushing us up the pitch. At times against Shakhtar Donetsk at home, when we were getting pressed back, all of our players were in one half of the pitch, and it was worrying. We need to bring our lines a bit higher up. Away from home, we've seen in Europe, away from home especially, and some games in the league, we're a lot better on the counter-attack. And when teams come out to us and they do attack us, we find holes and we find space in their defence. So I'd fancy them, if they're coming out at us, we will pull their pants down, I think.
Nice. Lovely imagery.
Crouch's
Lovely
pants down.
imagery. Yeah, beautiful stuff. So, time for your predictions, JB.
2-1 to United.
Okay, McBusted.
All the names, what's that, Sam?
Shout, just noise there.
Go on, 2-0 United.
Okay, I think 1-0, because I do. So there it is. Guys, thank you very much.
No problem.
Right, that was the Capital One Cup preview. Hope you enjoyed it. Give us a like, we'd really appreciate that. Make sure you subscribe, then you get the videos first. It's much easier for you. And also let us know what team you would play, what you think the score will be, and other thoughts you have about Manchester United, because we enjoy reading them. Cheers.